Past exam questions on transformations. Question number 1. Triangle T has been drawn on the grid, which is there. It's been rotated around the point 1, 0, which has got the cross on. Label the new triangle. You should use tracing paper for this. So put it over the shape, draw around it. Mark on the point you're going to rotate around, which is there. And then you just rotate it 180 degrees, as it says in the question, and it will end up there, which is what I've done. So that's what you should have got for that. Question number 2. Describe fully the single transformation that maps shape P onto shape Q. There's 3 marks. You get 1 mark for saying it is an enlargement, because it's got bigger. Question number 3. Triangle A and B are drawn on a grid. There they are, A and B. Describe fully the single transformation that maps A onto B. 3 marks. It's a rotation 180 degrees around the point 0, 0, or the origin. So there's your 3 marks for that. Translate the triangle A with the vector 3, 0. Translation is when you just shift it around the grid. The top one means move it across, the bottom one means move it up and down. So that's why it's just going 3 that way. If you wanted to move it the other way, it would be -3, but it's +3, so you move it that way. Question number 4. Rotate the shaded shape 90 degrees clockwise around point O. Again, I'd suggest using tracing paper for this. Draw around it. Point O is there, so put your pencil there and then just spin it. It was 90 degrees clockwise. So there you go. So that's where you can see where I got my answer from. So it maps straight there. Describe the single transformation that will map shape P onto shape Q. Shape P to shape Q. It's going to be a translation because it's been slid over or slided over, I suppose, or slid over is more accurate. You've moved it across 1, 2, 3. Then you moved it down 1. So that's 3, -1. 2 marks. 1 mark for translation. 1 mark for the translation vector. Question number 5. Triangle P has been drawn on a grid. There it is. On the grid, draw an enlargement of triangle P with a scale factor 3. Everything's got to be 3 times bigger. So that's 1 high, that'll be 3 high. That's 2 along, that'll be 6 along. Make sure it shows up. Next one, triangle Q has been drawn on a grid. On the grid, rotate the triangle Q 90 degrees clockwise around the centre. So again, you need to get your tracing paper. Put it over triangle Q, put a draw around it, put across there because it says around the centre, 90 degrees clockwise, it ends up there, which is where I've drawn it. So that's how you do those ones. Question number 6, rotate triangle P 180 degrees around the point -1, 1. First of all, they've already put a cross there for you. So we're going to rotate it 180 degrees. 180 degrees is half a turn, but you should already know that. So drawn around that, put my cross where I've got to rotate it, and it will end up here. And as you can see when I get there, I've labelled it triangle A. So there it is, and it's labelled triangle A already. Next one, translate P by the vector 6, -1. That means move it along 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and -1 is down 1, so that's why it's there, and labelled them A and B, which I've done. Question number 7. Reflect shape A in the y-axis. The y-axis is here, where it says Y, so reflecting it, you move it over. You can use tracing paper for this as well. If you draw around shape A, and you want to reflect it in this axis here. Reflecting is when you just flip it over. So what you do is flip it over like that, make sure your line lines up and your crosses, and you can see it goes there, which is where I've drawn it. There you go. Describe fully the single transformation which takes shape A to shape B. So that's one here to here. 3 marks. It's a rotation. It's 90 degrees anti-clockwise, and it is around the origin, point 0, 0. You can always test these out yourself, and I always do when I do them. Draw around it and have a bit of a play. So there's your shape roughly. Try it around the origin. It's fairly obvious it's anti-clockwise. There we go, and it just fits on the shape there. Really nice. I suppose you could say you rotate it 270 degrees clockwise, so that would be an acceptable answer as well, because that's strictly true if you went the other way. Question number 8. Rotate the shape 90 degrees clockwise around centre O. Again, get your tracing paper, put it on, draw around it like I'm doing here. 90 degrees clockwise around the centre O, there's the centre O, 90 degrees clockwise, and it will end up down there, which is why I've got it. So that's really question 8. Question 9, on the lid, on the grid, enlarge the shape with a scale factor of 1/2 around centre P. Here's the shape, the original one up here. I hope you can just about see it. I'll zoom in. I'll just shade in. This is the shape you're given. Okay, so I hope that shows up a little bit better. So you've got to enlarge that by scale factor 1/2. If you enlarge it by scale factor 2, it will get twice as big. If you enlarge it by scale factor 1/2, it will get half as big. So you've actually got half the size of it. The way I do it is noticing to go from point P to this corner here, it's along 2 and up 1, 2, 3, 4. So to get from there to there, I'm going to go along 1 and up 2. And that's what I do for each of them. I draw on the, put crosses on the corners and cross them off. You can also check your answer, because like we did on question 1, I think, you should be able to do this, and they should go through all the same points of your shape. So that should also be a nice way of testing it as well. And question 10, final one. On the grid above, reflect shape A in the axis, in the line x equals -1. The line x equals -1 is here. I'm going to draw that on for you. In the exam, it's probably good practice to draw it on as well. And you can even label it if you want. X equals -1. You can reflect it with tracing paper, and it'll end up over here. I'll shade that in to make sure you can see it. There you go. And question B, describe fully the single transformation that will map shape P on a shape Q. It's been shifted along, so it's a translation, 1 mark, and it's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by the looks of it, so I've got that wrong. It's -6, and it's been moved down 1, so -6, -1. We'll just check that. So it goes from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down 1. So it's a translation, -6, -1. And they're your questions on translations, or transformations.